Sing me a song of a lass that is gone. Say, could that lass be I? Mary of soul, she sailed on a day over the sea to sky.
Hey everyone, Alvine here. So I did manage to get on and film this second video for the day, even though it will be several days till you see it. I'm having a chicken run situation at the moment. I've just put my chicken away for like the third time today. We have two chickens and one of them, I think her feathers have started to grow out a little bit because she keeps getting over the little fence that we have for them. They have like the whole back section of the yard, like about half of the backyard, and yeah, she keeps coming up to the house to be like, can you feed me? So they used to be really good at like digging grubs and getting their own food during the day, but I've just started making this rice, vegetable with other stuff combination for them, and they really like it. So now she keeps getting out and being like, dude, can I have more of that? And I'm like, no, you can only have it twice a day. So chicken run is happening for reals at Alvine Green's house. Anyway, so my husband is on the way. I'm wanting to get this video done before he arrives, so let's see how we go. So this is number 3, the third and final install for the Q&A series that we've done. I want to thank every single person who has submitted questions. They've been incredible. I'm excited to finish these last ones off. I do have, and I've mentioned this before, a couple of videos that I'm going to be making separately that people have asked questions of me for. Separate videos. So there's like another 5 or 6 coming that I've decided to make into their own whole thing. So if your question hasn't been answered here, it will be answered. It is coming. I'll get there. So let's jump right into this, shall we? So the first question for today is, pick one country you wish you could travel to. What item from that country would you bring back home to use in your practice? If I could only choose one country to travel to in the entire world, I would have to say Scotland. I desperately want to go to Scotland. Ireland is like right up, probably both. I don't know. It's hard to, probably Scotland at this stage. I desperately want to go there. I feel such a strong connection. I have ancestry in Ireland. I don't know about Scotland. But yeah, I really want to go to Scotland. I really want to visit the Highlands and all of the sacred sites and just be in Scotland. The item I would choose to bring back, I did think about this, probably honestly dirt or a rock or something, probably dirt, earth from there. You know, there is a lot of really cool paraphernalia in Scotland. Like, I would love a set of bagpipes, but I can't play them, so that would be kind of useless. They'd look cool though. Put it up on the wall or something, or like a kilt, or I don't know. Just, yeah, I would probably choose dirt. That's something that I could use in my practice, and something that I could like stay connected to the land with. So that would probably be my choice. Something practical like that. I'd probably get a few eyebrows raised coming through customs though. I'm bringing dirt. I'd have to smuggle it in actually. I'm going to start making plans for that. The next question is, I'm interested in your spiritual evolution from your heavily Christian upbringing to the beautiful purple-haired witch we see before us today. So for me it was quite a process. This is going to be the shortened down version. I grew up in a Christian home. When I was in my teenage years, I came to my own spiritual awakening with through Christianity. That was a really powerful time for me, and the next sort of year and a half, probably year, was really incredible, really powerful, and I had some of the most intense and amazing experiences spiritually that I've ever had in my life, up to that point at least, and for a while after. Then it sort of, I had a lot of questions. There was issues in my life that I couldn't find answers to there. And I sort of had this this backsliding, it was called, situation happening where I wasn't really involved anymore. My heart wasn't in it. It took me several years to just actually decide not to go to church, even though I hadn't been going to church for about a year before that, maybe even more. But it took a lot of courage for me to go, okay, I'm not going to go to church anymore. It was a further year after that until I gave myself permission to actually start exploring spiritually elsewhere. I was so scared of, because I was taught everything that is not of the Christian God is of the devil. That's what my mother thought, and that was, the church that I went to, that was very much their firm belief. So I was really afraid, but I gave myself finally permission to search through watching some people on YouTube. It was in the health sphere, but these people were really spiritually open and just, they seemed so connected, and I really had grown to trust them. As you watch someone on YouTube, you feel like you get to know them, and there is that trust built there. So I was like, okay, they're really cool people. They seem really switched on and heart-centered. I'm gonna start doing my own little search, and it's gonna be okay. So I did that. I began trying to see what is the joining thread between all religions. There's got to be some base truth, Everyone believes that they are absolutely right in their religion, Everyone's like, this is the right way. So there's got to be what is that underlying truth? They can't, all be wrong except for one, I don't know. So I began to search there. And I did a lot of research online, and I started looking into all of that and just kind of feeling a bit overwhelmed by it all. So I went, all right, I want to go back to when spirituality began for humanity. Where did it begin? Let's start there. So I started watching a lot of documentaries and doing further research online, and discovered this, that our ancestors connected spiritually in a very earth-based way. And I was like, this makes sense to me, okay. And I kept looking into it, still feeling quite confused, I don't know. So I wrote down, okay, at this point in my life, what are my spiritual beliefs? I'm very confused about everything, but what is the thing that I do believe? And I wrote a couple of things down, and the main point was, I do believe that the earth is divine in some way. I didn't have that word at the time, but I was like, I believe there is something about the earth that really makes sense to me, that resonates with me. I've always absolutely felt that. And when people have told me in my past spirituality that isn't correct, that didn't feel right. So I kind of went with that, and I watched heaps of documentaries on ancient peoples, mostly around the European area. That's, what my ethnic background is. So I felt always drawn to that. But there was stuff about the Middle East as well. Our modern society really began in the Middle East. So looking into there and spirituality and everything. So after doing this research, I started coming across some videos online. And I found Kellyanne and I found Anya Orga, and they have quite pantheistic views, and that really made sense to me. When they sort of spoke about that and used those words, I was like, ooh, maybe these are words that relate to me as well. So that was kind of sort of my journey. And then I read a few books. I read one book actually, and it was on Wicca, and I was like, this doesn't, I don't quite want to do this. Wicca is an already sort of set out religion. And I was like, I really don't want to step into someone else's religion. Had a bad previous experience of that, just having issues really expressing and finding my own way, finding my own weird, wild, purple-haired way, right? So I said, no, that wasn't for me, but I really liked the magical side. So I looked more into that, and found these people online and kind of went from there, decided, yes, I'm going to give this a go, and just jumped right into it. Do you feel when you were a child you perhaps had any witchy abilities or was magical in any way? Not specifically. I feel like all children are really connected to that magic. There is this, we have powerful imaginations. We are born with powerful imaginations. And I definitely connected with that a lot as a kid. I always was in fantasy land and had these incredible playing times, and was outside and, had all these friends and, all that kind of stuff. Really engaged with my imagination. So I would say of everything, that's probably what I could definitely say I had that ability. But in terms of psychic ability or anything like that, I don't believe so. Not that am aware of, kind of thing. So yeah, I would say the imagination was the big part, and having that love and that sense of wonder. What is your favorite crystal to work with? Which of your... Oh, okay, that's the first one. What's your favorite crystal to work with? Probably... I don't actually have... yeah. I don't have it here. I think I left it on my desk, but it's one like this. Clear quartz point. I love clear quartz. I mean, just to look at, they're divine. They're beautiful. And very versatile. You know, everyone says you can just use them for whatever you want. Just program them. You can use them for whatever you want. So that's really good. I like that they're so... you can just... I don't have good words, but use them for whatever you want. So probably my one like that, but different. And the other part of that question is, which of your crystals or stones do you connect or resonate with the most? That's a hard one. Specific crystal. I don't have it here. I was going to jump up and get it, but it's out there. My camera's going to die in a minute. I'm going to try and get as much of this video done as I can. It is my amethyst point. I have an amethyst point, and that one at the moment, because you know it changes, is the one that I'm connecting most deeply with, and I'm carrying it around the house with me, which is why it's out there at the moment. It was on my desk. Yeah, that one is probably the one that I connect most with. In terms of stones, oh my god, it's so heavy. This one, shown it before, my goddess stone. This is my love and my baby. Have you ever explored other spiritual practices? Speak. I.e. druidry, and what were your findings? I haven't. I have not delved deeply into any specific spiritual practices that are in line with paganism. Only Christianity in previous stuff, and I haven't really brought much of that into what I do now. You know, there was a process of letting go for me over time, and I think it is really beautiful, by the way, when people bring their past spirituality into what they are doing currently. I definitely advocate for that. I have people asking me all the time, you know, is it okay that I hold Christian beliefs and am a witch? Yes, it is. I really discourage anyone on here who tries to discourage people who have those kind of beliefs. Historically, if we look back, you know, there is a lot of correlation between witchcraft and Christianity, and I'm not going to get into that. Keldon is our guy for that kind of thing. I will link our past video that we just did the other day down below, because he spoke quite a bit about that. Yeah, so I think it's really beautiful. So I just want to say that. I haven't currently yet, but I've been bringing a little bit in. But yes, I haven't delved into anything like that, like druidry or any other spiritual practices like that. It's very much been about me learning to express myself. That's where my current life journey is. Saying that though, there are several that I would really like to look into, and I'll be doing that, you know, over the next few years and really delving into those. There are several that I'd like to. So I haven't yet, but will be doing that. And druidry is actually one that I'm quite interested in. That I found that quite early on, and I was like, ooh, this looks really interesting. So I'll get into that at some point. Activities in which you are absolutely inept. Oh, hang on. My husband's calling me. Excuse me for a moment. Hello. Hi. I'm good. How are you? Yeah. By the way, I'm making a video currently. Maybe. I love you too. I will. I don't think I'm going to make it because the battery's about to die anyway, but I'll have half a video. Alright, bye. Anyway, what was the question? Activities in which you are absolutely inept. So I'm just going to get on my little soapbox here. I don't believe that there are any activities in which we are absolutely inept. I am learning about having a growth mindset. We can always get better at anything. Now, there will still be activities if we pour our heart and our soul into that we will not be good at, right? I haven't really done that though. Like, I feel like I haven't really poured my heart and soul into anything that I'm not good at, if that makes sense. You know, everything I've been interested in, I've always grown and gotten better at. And the things that I'm not interested in, I might give a go and then I'm like, meh, I'm not going to do that. So yeah, I don't really think that we are absolutely inept in anything. I just want to say that. Things that I'm not good at are a lot of sporting things. Like, I am actually quite sporty, but I'm not good at balancing stuff. So skateboards, forget about it. Again, if I practiced, I reckon I could get the balance down, but I'm not very good at that. What else am I not good at? I'm okay with numbers, but I don't like them very much. So like with learning astrology at the moment, it's a bit of a challenge because I'm like, I'm getting to the numbers part of it and I'm just like, it's numbers. Don't love numbers, but not bad at numbers. What else have I tried that I wasn't good? I'm pretty rubbish at sewing, but again, I haven't really put myself into it. So it kind of got to the stage where it was hard and I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. Even though it's something that I'd like to do. So one day I'm going to get back into that. So those are a few things that I've tried that but I know if I applied myself, I would be good at them. So I don't have a real good answer for that one. Do you believe there is a major difference between actually believing and wanting to believe? I really do. Saying that you want to believe is insinuating to yourself that you do not believe. So there are things that I engage with that on an everyday level, I don't believe. I actually have quite an atheistic view of the world, I'm realizing, but I use belief as a tool. So when you step into ritual or into sacred space or into, whatever space, into a place that you want to use a certain belief, you can do that. You can put on a belief, even if it's something that you step out of after that situation has occurred or is over or whatever. So if you're doing a ritual, for example, you can put on a certain belief system for that ritual. You got to believe it. You got to know it. You've got to be immersed in that belief. This sounds like a very strange thing to do because egoically, I think we don't like to do this. Like in that kind of mental space, we're like, yeah, but I don't actually believe it. Yeah, but. Try it. Step into a belief. If you don't believe it, fake it till you make it, that kind of thing. Except you don't ever have to come to the point where you truly do believe a certain thing. You can use belief as a tool. I don't know how, it's some deep psychological thing. Belief is absolutely necessary, I believe, for magic to truly work. For magic to work, you've got to have that belief and that faith and that absolute yes. But you don't have to have that in your everyday, day-to-day life. So that is something to consider. If you are sitting there thinking, I want to believe this thing, you're saying to yourself, I don't believe this thing, I would like to though. And the belief, you won't have the power of belief on your side in that instance, or you won't be harnessing the power of belief in that moment. So belief as a tool is something really powerful to use, and if you are wanting to believe something but you currently don't, step into the belief when you want to use that and go for it. And my cat's meowing now, everything's happening. Got chickens running away and cats meowing and men calling. Wardrobe change. Alright, my camera died, and it took like 12 years to charge again, so next day. The next question is, are moon glyphs used in witchcraft? If so, when and how? They absolutely are. Anything can be used in witchcraft. Any kind of correspondence, any kind of symbology, anything from any culture in the world or any historical time period or anything can be used in witchcraft. There are so many different cultures and traditions that honestly anything can be used in witchcraft. So yes, definitely to that question. And how? I haven't used moon glyphs myself, but any kind of lunar magic, in any kind of magic that you wanted to bring in lunar energies, I would say they'd probably be particularly good if you're wanting to kind of harness lunar energies when the moon isn't in that particular phase, or if you're doing something during the day or whatever, you can use the glyph to symbolize that particular phase of the moon and bring that into your craft. But obviously, even if the moon is correct, in terms of, if you're doing full moon magic, you're using a full moon glyph, and it's the full moon, even better. So any kind of lunar magic, if you're wanting to bring energies of the lunar power into your work, that's when you would use a moon glyph, I would say. Again, I haven't looked into this much myself. I haven't done it yet, but there is loads of information online. I had a little quick squiz earlier, and yeah, there's a whole bunch on there. So do honestly Google it and have a look. I won't say any more about it because, yeah, I haven't practiced it myself, so I'm not sure beyond that. The next question is, what has been your biggest witchy challenge over the years? My biggest challenge within my witchcraft has been my biggest challenge within my my life, my, you know, the time span that I've been a witch. It's all been one, and that is confidence in myself. Having self-confidence and believing in myself and understanding that the power is within me and that I channel me into magical tools, magical items to create, manifest, whatever. So it's really been confidence and belief in myself and building myself up and kind of, you know, going through a process of healing emotionally, which, you know, I'm still very much going through, and I think, you know, all of us continue to, you know, can continue, at least, not everyone does, but I think it's wise to continue always to grow and to learn and to look at things and to do that shadow work and to integrate and all that kind of thing. So definitely it is confidence within myself, and that's something that I've gotten much better at through witchcraft as well. It was a process that I began before I came into practicing the craft, but through practicing the craft and through, you know, witnessing self-empowered people, particularly women, but men as well, and, you know, hearing their message of, hey, like, we got this within us, like, you can do this, that has been truly, truly incredible. But that's been kind of the biggest thing that have been challenged with, and it's something that I still work through. You know, there are still absolutely days where I feel like, you know, the bottom of the heap kind of thing, so it's still a challenge that I'm working through, but one that has enriched me so much within my practice, but very much within my entire life. What does it matter what we use in spell work, ingredient wise, if it's all connected in some way or another anyway? Good question. And in my opinion, honestly, I don't think it matters. I think it matters on a very personal level. I think we need to use spell ingredients, or ingredients within our spells that we connect to. So, you know, whether that be crystals, whether that be herbs, whether that be dirt, whether that be spit, whether that be certain tools, all of that, you need to connect with it on some level yourself, and that is what is going to be most powerful for you. So if you are interested in herbs, start exploring herbs and use the herbs, work with the herbs that you feel most drawn to. What I've noticed is, as I'm learning more about correspondences, there are an awful lot of things. Let me try that again. Within every single item, every single ingredient, there are a plethora of correspondences, written down correspondences. So like official correspondences, one that many agree upon, right? So, you know, rose quartz, for example, you know, is used for love, it's used for self-love, it can be used for protection, it can be used for healing. So the way I go about it now, you know, to begin with, I was gathering a lot of different things. You know, if a certain book or person said, oh, this ingredient's for this and this and this, I'd be like, okay, I need to get these different ingredients and bring them into my practice because I want to work with those particular correspondences. However, I can find those correspondences elsewhere. So for example, there are color correspondences. So anything that is colored you can use in your spellcraft. If it's paper, if it's some kind of material, paint, like whatever, you can use all the different color correspondences. There are just innumerable correspondences for everything. So you can charge certain items with those energies as well, and also as you work with different ingredients, you will feel over time what they are to you. So for example, for me, you know, what basil means to me, how I use that in my practice might be quite different to what is written down in a book or on the internet or whatever, but I feel connected to that, you know, so therefore when I use it in my spell work, it's powerful and it is used for that particular thing. So what I do now is I don't really bring many new things into my practice anymore. I'm not purchasing things at the moment. You know, I did just do a witchy haul, but it was literally one thing that I purchased for a couple of dollars. So I'm not gathering new things anymore. I use what is around me. So I have, you know, a bunch of things behind me down here, different herbs and different ingredients and things like that. And when I'm wanting to do a spell, I step into the energy of creating spell work. Center, ground, you guys know I do that all the time. And then I just look at what I have and I think, all right, I'm going to use this and that's for that correspondence. And I'm going to use this and that's for that correspondence, and so on and so forth, to however many I want to bring in, however many I feel at the time to bring in. So I very much do it on an intuitive level. Now, it does take time to do this and to build in, and I think it can be difficult when you're starting out, you know, like what should I have and what should I not have. Honestly, I would say just whatever you feel like working with. This does take time. You know, I think there's this misconception that, you know, you kind of, you know, you step into it and you've just got to know, you know, like you've just got to know and you've just got to do, and you need to get all the things so that you can actually do the spell work. You really don't need stuff. You really don't need stuff. I would recommend, to begin with, really starting to work with energy. Start to learn to control your energy by centering, by grounding. That is the first thing, I think. By shielding, learning how to shield, and by sitting in sacred space and connecting with spirit as well. Energy work is huge, and I feel like it is, to me, I don't know if this is the case for everybody, but for me it is very much the main ingredient of my spell work. And if my energy isn't right, it doesn't matter what I use in a spell, it's not going to work, even if it's like the perfect ingredients that's written in some book, you know, in some particular tradition. So honestly, I don't think that it really matters what we do use in spell work. I really don't. That's my personal opinion. It is all connected, and you can bring a correspondence into pretty well anything, probably, but you go with what you feel. That is very important. So getting to that place, you know, journaling about it, working with it, using it in different ways and seeing what that thing means to you. So I hope that answers the question. That was like way out there. Do you have any issues with any extended family members who are still Christian? Do they know about your practice? Do they mind? Do they say anything? Extended family, no, they don't know. I have one person within the family that I'm starting to share a little bit more with. He's a little bit more out there too. He's quite atheistic, but kind of very open to how people practice spirituality. So I've been sharing a little bit with him, but all of the people who are deeply Christian in my family do not know yet. There is a lot of fear there for me still, just in sharing with them, because I know it's going to be a big hurdle for us all to get over. I feel like it's probably coming closer to the time where it is going to come out. This is something that's really important to me, and I'm realizing how passionate I am about self-expression. That is something that I've struggled with my whole life. I've felt so suppressed, and that's what coming into witchcraft really has been for me, is about finding that place of self-expression, you know, and I saw that little glint, that little witchcraft glint over there, and I went, ooh, I do want to try that on, and just like expression. So I'm feeling like, you know, I do want to share myself more. It has been a frustrating process, particularly when I first came into it, because I had this huge, big, amazing thing that I wanted to share, and I felt like I couldn't. And that was it was really hard, which is why, one of the reasons why I decided to start a YouTube channel, so I could gas bag on to you guys about, you know, magic stuff, where I felt like I couldn't with people that I already knew. I do have some friends in my life who know, and my husband knows, and all that kind of thing. So we have some good conversations, which is really nice. But yeah, so they don't know. There will be problems. There will be. When I first come out, it's gonna be a tough trot. And I'm not quite ready for it yet, But like I said, I feel like the time is coming, and I'm sure I'll share something about that after the blow up. It's going to be interesting. So yeah, I haven't got anything juicier to say about that just yet. How do you feel this last year of growth has gone for you? Are you in the space you want to be right now? So when I first had this question asked to me, which was like, I think like several months ago now, my goodness, it's taken me a while to get around to these. You know, my answer was no, I'm not happy with where my growth has gotten me over the last year. I had a vision in my mind of where I would be by the end of 2016, and I wasn't there. But I went through a hell of a process, and it was a process that I very much needed to go through. Over the past few weeks particularly, but the last month or two, like that process absolutely has continued, and I feel like I'm really getting somewhere. Like I feel like, you know, last year was really a lot of groundwork, a lot of breakdown, and I said that in several videos throughout the year. You know, I feel like I'm in this season of death in my life. And I feel like now that I'm really starting to come out of that, and I haven't really thought of that, but yeah, I feel like it's kind of like this, a spring within my life is starting to happen. It's still kind of gestation, but a little bit of springy happening. So, what was the other part of the question? In the space you want to be, yeah. So I'm quite happy with where I am now because I'm very much in a space of growing. My husband and I are going through a process together where we're really starting to figure out what we want from life and how we can go about that and get that, and the things we need to let go of and the things we need to bring in. It's a big process, but I've really, even just today, honestly, I've had a bit of a breakthrough today. So I am quite happy with where I am now. And I'm really, really excited for where I'm going and what's going to happen. And it's scary and exciting. So yeah. What does a normal day look like in your practice? So I don't really currently have a morning practice. I did very recently, up to very recently. But things are kind of changing around, and I've realized how important it is for me to have an everyday practice. So I do center and ground each day. Other than that, I mean, that is a daily spiritual practice. Anyway, I don't know what I'm saying. Blah, blah, blah. I'm trying to get this done really quickly. In case you can't tell, I'm talking at visual speed because my husband's gone to pick up my son and they're going to be back any minute. And from then on, videos aren't going to happen. So I'm really wanting to get this done today, instead of having like 3 separate parts of this video all stuck together. So, a normal day. Well, what I was doing before and what I am going to start doing, okay. Generally, what my stuff looks like is this, right? I usually do some journaling. So I just kind of blurt on the page. I do like a version of morning pages, which is in the Artist's Way, for any of you who are familiar with Julia Cameron's program. I just blurt out on the page, whatever's in my head, blah, 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 all on the page, which I find very therapeutic, very therapeutic. And then I'll do some form of daily draw. So a card draw from whatever deck. So I have several decks that I like to use. Some days I just draw 1 card from one deck. Some days I'll draw a couple of cards from one deck. Some days I will draw 1 card from several decks. So this is the Earth Magic Oracle, and one of my favorites. I just have this sitting right next to me. And then I will journal about those as well. I'll sort of sit with them and feel what the cards are trying to say to me for the day, and go, okay. And usually there's some kind of little spark that happens, particularly through the journaling process. Sometimes I read the books that come with the cards. Sometimes I don't. Often with oracle cards I don't. I just go with the message that comes through. But most often with the tarot deck that I use, the Druidcraft Tarot, I do read the book because I'm still very much learning tarot and just feel like I kind of, I like having that book interpretation there as well. It's very hot in here. I'm feeling very hot. So what else do I do? I like to go outside. I might center and ground outside, or I might do that in front of my altar, but I like to be outside at some point and just enjoy it. Breathe in the air and just be mindful in that space, being in nature. I find that very, very grounding, and it just brings me right back to myself. So I always spend at least a few moments outside every single day. Other than that, I might sit with a crystal, I may not, and that might be at my altar space or just carrying the crystal around with me as well. That's probably the things that I do on the daily, and I'll be bringing all those things back in. I think that's probably about it. I might also do some reading, some kind of magical text reading, and sometimes some spell work. Most often I do energetic spell work, which I think I've spoken about before. So, not necessarily getting all the ingredients and things out or making different things, but actually working on the energetic level. That's my daily practice currently. Yeah. What is one thing you have accomplished in your practice which you feel has been essential to you? I love this question. Good question. For me, I think manifesting this home. That for me was like the biggest, most intense, most prolonged spell work that I'd done up to that point, which was not last year, but the year before, 2015, in like the month of November. I did just like intense spell work, all this spell work and manifestation work to get this house. I didn't think we were going to get it because on paper it didn't seem like, it was going to happen, and we had all these issues, but I was just like determined, and I just worked my little witchy butt off and we actually got the house. So I feel like for me that was a massive boost in confidence, and I was just like, you know what, yeah, like I've got this. Like if there is something that I really want and I apply myself and focus on it energetically, magically, and on a physical level, I can get it. So that was huge for me. Next, we have some YouTube questions. So for all of you who are new to YouTube or wanting to make a YouTube channel, I think mostly for people wanting to make a YouTube channel, there's a couple of questions here. I'm thinking of starting a YouTube channel. I realized my path about 2 years ago. Do you think I or anyone else wanting to start a channel should wait until we're more experienced, or is it fine to document and learn as I go now? And I think the main fears for this person were that I can't remember now, was afraid of getting it wrong, making mistakes, or giving out incorrect information. So I have been practicing for 2 years. When I made this channel, I had been practicing for about a year and a half, and that was about it. Oh no, my foot's going numb. I don't have time. I want to get this done. So in my personal opinion, I would say absolutely whatever stage you're at, jump into it, because yeah, like I've been doing it for almost 3 years now, but it's still not 3 years. And I know people on YouTube who have only just started practicing, and they're making YouTube channels. They're making YouTube videos. Thank you. Thank you. And it's really cool to see how they're developing and how they're growing. I think it's really invaluable, actually. Now, I would never say to anyone that you should make a YouTube channel, but if you want to, don't allow the length of time that you have practiced or not yet practiced to stop you. At whatever level you're at, you can offer something to people. There are plenty of people who are just starting out in their witchcraft journey who want to hear about that process. Like I remember when I started practicing and I was watching YouTube videos, I wanted to go back and see like, where did people start? How did they do all this? So I think if you are newer, it can be a really wonderful thing to share that with people. And I think it also reawakens that wonder for people who maybe have been on the path for a lot longer as well. So don't allow that to stop you. As far as getting it wrong and making mistakes and all that, look, we all get it wrong, we all make mistakes, and occasionally probably most of us give out some incorrect information. The biggest thing I think is intent. There are a lot of people out there who are kind of spewing pseudo history and things like that. You may occasionally get it wrong. Just be open to that and just be happy to correct yourself or re-clarify as you learn and grow. You know, I think there is a certain way that you can come across. Like, you can come across like, oh, this is the way and this is the correct thing. And then, you know, honestly, those kind of people do look a bit like a dick when they get it wrong. But, you know, but if you're coming across like, oh, this is something I'm learning and, you know, whatever, like, this has been my experience, you know, I don't feel like there's an issue. I've never had anyone kind of bite my head off about anything that I can think of. You know, people are generally pretty open, pretty accepting. There is a lot of misinformation out there in the community already. But yeah, I mean, just go with your experience, go with what you're learning, and, you know, have trust and faith in that, and realize that, you know, ultimately it is up to people to do their own research anyway. Although it is helpful when you know, people are putting out the right information. But yeah, I don't feel like it's a massive issue, to be honest, in terms of like for your own YouTube channel, because really, as far as I see, most people who are on YouTube are talking about their own experiences anyway, and you can't be wrong about that because it's your experience. Or, you know, they'll say, hey, in this book I read this thing. So, you know, it's just conveying that kind of information that you've learned. So yeah, I wouldn't stress about that. Definitely don't let it hold you back. You know, there are all these kind of fears that we have. You know, putting yourself out there on YouTube it's a big deal. It's a pretty big deal. It can feel really scary, but it's so much fun and it's so worth it, and you will grow so much. And most of the things you're afraid of, you will realize as you do this. You know, they're things that you don't need to be afraid of. They're things that aren't that scary when you come to them. They're things that generally don't really pop up either. So don't allow how long you've practiced or the fear of getting it wrong stop you from making YouTube videos. Do you have any advice for us witches who are a little camera shy or who aren't traditional but still want to share their experiences and knowledge with other witches? The first thing I would say is, if you aren't traditional, quote unquote, whatever that is, right? I would say it's almost your duty to share with us all. I think that, you know, if you do have something different to say, like, we are all enriched by that. So if you have something different to offer, something different to share, then, you know, absolutely, like, get on YouTube if that is something you want to do, because it's wonderful to have people who have different perspectives on here and hearing new things like that. So yeah, I would definitely say if you aren't traditional, if you have a different way of practicing, get on YouTube, because we would like to hear what it is that you are doing. And for people who are camera shy, look, I was terrified, and I've talked about this before, terrified of the camera when I first began. It took me months and months to be able to actually look at the lens when I spoke. I still struggle with it, but I feel a lot more comfortable now, and the only way that you get through it is by doing it. To be honest, there is no secret answer. It's just by doing it. Now, if you are like cripplingly like, I can't do this, practice. Get your camera out and talk to your camera every day, every few days, every week, whatever. Practice. Make videos. You don't have to upload them, but practice. Do it. Speak to the camera. Get used to it. Get more comfortable. Once you feel like you are sort of at the point where you are uncomfortable, but you can do it, start uploading. And the more you do it, the longer period you do it for, the more comfortable you will get. And all of a sudden it will feel almost natural to talk to a camera lens, which is pretty bizarre. But join the bizarre club. It is, yeah, it's just something that you need to practice and get through and get used to. So for all these things as well, if you're wanting to make a YouTube channel, don't let it hold you back. Do not let it hold you back. Come on board. We need you. We want you. YouTube wants you. And the very last question is, what advice would you give to someone who has ADD and not the best camera, video editing system, or skills? So in terms of ADD, I don't have ADD myself, so I feel like I can't really talk on that. The thing is, you don't have to upload. There is no schedule that you need to follow. You can upload whenever you want to. So if you upload once a week, that's awesome. If you upload once every 2 weeks, awesome. If you upload once a month, if you upload whenever you feel like it, maybe it's a week and then it's a month and then it's 2 weeks and then it's 2 months and then it's a week and then it's 4 weeks, you know, whatever, it doesn't matter. There's no schedule you have to follow. So do it whenever you feel like it. Do it whenever you feel like you, I suppose, have the attention to do so. It does take a little time to, you know, get used to sort of sitting in the space and talking to the camera. But again, I feel like that comes with practice. Again, I can't say much on ADD though, because I don't have experience with that myself. But, you know, figure out those strategies. If this is something you want to do, there is always a way to do it. There is always a way to get through it and to empower yourself to do these things that you want to do. And in terms of all the stuff for making videos, start with wherever you are. And I've said this before. You know, there are YouTubers who make videos on their webcam, on their phones. Some people have good phones, some people don't. Wherever you're at, make videos with what you... This is turning into a crazy long video. And in terms of video editing system, Windows Movie Maker is a free one, which is really good. I used to use that before my computer crapped out and I couldn't use it anymore, but I really, really liked it. Has everything you need, very simple to use, free to use. It takes a little time sometimes getting used to editing. Also, you don't have to edit if you don't want to. Editing is not necessary. I would say probably most people I watch don't edit their videos, so it's not necessary. It's something you get used to over time. I do edit my videos, but quite minimally because my computer just can't take it. This video is going to take me like all day to upload, so that's going to be fun. Yeah, you will develop the skills as you go. Just jump into it, start with wherever you're at, start doing it, and all this stuff will come to you. So I hope this has helped in terms of the YouTube stuff, and I hope it's been interesting in terms of everything else. I'm going to go now because I don't even know how long this has been. This is in like so many different parts, this video. It's like insane. So I'm going to go. Thank you so much for watching. If you've made it to the end, you are a champion. If you've made it to the end, here we do this. All right. If you've made it to the end, say somewhere in your comment, marshmallows. Alright, that's going to be the secret code word because you're going to get like an extra little stamp or something. You're going to get a gold star on your hand for staying all the way to the end. So marshmallows, put it down below. I love you guys so much and I'm going to see you next week for another video. I'm glad this Q&A is done now. All your questions have been answered. They've been so fun to answer. And I've got some more videos I'm going to make, which I'm really excited to jump into. I'm feeling like the YouTube bug. So next week I'm going to make some more, get this happening a little bit more regularly, a little bit maybe more scheduled. We'll see how we go. I'm not a scheduler, really. I'm quite messy, but we'll see. We'll see. I hope you have an incredible week. This is going to be the end of the week, I think, by the time I upload this. I hope you have a wonderful time with family, friends. I hope that you express yourself and you love and you seek joy. Owen. And I will see you all very, very soon. So much love.